Flosstube, it's Jen, also known as Quirks and Stitches. I don't really know how to start these since I'm filming so much more regularly than I had been in the past. It seems like it was just last week that I was talking to you. What do you know it was? Last time we talked, I was showing off the 24 starts that I did for my 24 hours, and I went through and was able to complete 18 of them before February ended. And I'm on to March Madness. So Stitch Madness is happening like crazy in our house. Brandon has been stitching along. My mom has been stitching along. For those of you that don't know what Stitch Madness is, I do my Stitch Mania in March because May tends to be a busier month in my life. So I took the challenge and kind of tweaked it to my own. That's what I love about stitching though, and like all of the groups and all of the people, everybody is just kind of like, here's an idea, you run with it, make it what you want it to be. I claim no credit for any of this stuff. It's just what works best for me and my stitching. My wall of whips may be that's saying that I'm lying because obviously I'm not finishing anything readily right now, but you know, it works best for me. So what I do is I take a new start every day in the month of March, 31 different starts, 31 different designers, because I like to make sure I'm varying it up a little bit. And then this year I already had all my starts arranged, but I was like, oh, I like to put them into an order. And so I put them on a calendar and I try to say, okay, this day I'm going to start this project, this day I'm going to start this one, and I go through. And I'm not very good at random. I don't like it. Like I don't do random. It doesn't work for me. So I have to have like a reason why I'm starting something. And I was like, I'm going to do holidays. So I tried really hard to match all of my projects to new holidays, but I decided I would not re-kit anything. So everything was already kitted in its bags. I had to pull some stretches to really try to make some works. There are a couple that don't. They just don't have a holiday connected at all, and maybe I'll go back and somebody can find one for me, but this week I think everything did. So I've been showing my progress and things that I've been working on Instagram, but I wanted to take some time to show you that. We've also been doing a lot of organizing and getting ready, or actually doing project bags. So my mom has been amazing. She hasn't sewn for a really long time, so it took some, finagling. We got her machine, her old machine that she had, a really good machine, serviced, and then when she picked hers up, I dropped mine off that I've never used, but apparently it was working okay, but the reverse wasn't working, so I guess that's important. And we wanted to make sure that she had a working one, because as much as I want to start doing this and I really would like to get into quilting, honestly, if I want bags for all my projects, somebody that knows how to sew has to do it first. So I was in charge of like matching up my fabrics, getting my lining and my outside. I'm learning how to cut fabric, and now I'm perfecting the ironing, which anyone that has watched my channel for any extended period of time, the fact that I am in charge of ironing should just be a comical thing, and everybody should just be like, yeah, these project bags are going to be not very good. But I've perfected it. I'm not scared of an iron anymore. So I know how to iron my cross stitch pieces, and with spray starch, thanks to everyone that has recommended that and tutorials and everything, because I have been so scared of getting my fabric wet, and we haven't been able to get like iron or wrinkles out with all my hand dyed flosses and fancy floss and stuff. So spray starch has been like a life changer, so much so that now before I start a project, I spray starch it and iron it to get a flat piece of fabric, which is something I never did. And thankfully my mom has always been really amazing about she finishes and frames all of my pieces, but she's always been really, really good about getting all of my wrinkles out, because I had never done anything about that before. So I'm in charge of the ironing. I've kind of cut the fabric under supervision. We're not quite there where we trust me to actually be cutting it. We've had a few like misses. it was almost a tragic loss of my ET fabric, but my mom saved it and we were able to salvage it. And I did actually pick up some more at the store today because I just love it so much. So I will be showing, I'm talking about them, I should just show them now, right? So here's some of the bags that we've gotten done. I have some of Brandon's here too, because he stitches. I got a new mug. I'm trying really hard not to like over drink my coffee. Because last time I like downed that mug. Sorry. I have the vocabulary of a well-educated sailor. It's very accurate. I'm good on here. Don't ask my mom. I have funny stories to tell, but I can't tell them on here. Anyway, so we had been buying all of the fabric, and you know, it's been kind of trial and error. I think my mom has now made like 15 bags. And our relatives keep going, how many are you going to make? And I'm like, well, I have 65 works in progress. I want a bag for every one of them. And my mom just indulges me. She's great. So she's been doing a lot. She's got some of hers upstairs. I didn't pull those before I came down, but she did this one. It's Legend of Zelda fabric. And then he's got his project in here that he'll be starting. I think this is his tomorrow start, but it's got like a yellow fabric on the inside. His were hard for me to try to line up what I don't know, the comic book ones are a little bit tougher to match up. She also finished him a Doctor Who one. I feel like I should be showing the other side first. This is back to where I don't understand what side of my body is what. It just has a light blue lining on the inside. And we went back and forth. I really like the project bags where you can't see through as well. But we decided that since we're coming off of Ziploc bags and being so used to just kind of being able to grab and go, that it would make more sense for us to have the vinyl. That's not to be said that I won't ever incorporate other kinds into my collection and try to make them or purchase them from those people that have perfected that. But for now, that's kind of where we're going. So with the ones that my mom was finishing, I'm a theme person. So I really want them to be related to what the project is that's going into it. I understand that I'm not always going to have 65 works in progress, and if we make the bags to match my current works in progress, I don't know what that means when they're empty and I have to restart projects. I hope I don't feel like I'm like, oh, this has foxes on it. I have to stitch something foxes. So I'm trying to be very specific, like, and make some that are like definitely theme oriented, like Halloween and Christmas and things that I stitch, but also things that are just generic. So this would be, I think, an example of a more generic one. I feel like it's springy. I don't stitch a whole lot of spring though, so I don't feel like I'm tied to having a spring piece in here. It has little X's in the background. I love the lining fabric, but it's just the spring fabric on the back. I have needlework ABCs in here. It's one of my Stitch 9 challenge. That was kind of my goal. I was like, let me get all my Stitch 9 challenges in bags. But then different projects started fitting and nothing ever goes to how I want it to go. This one, everybody was loving the fox print. My mom surprised me with this one. But I love the backing is just the brown. And those foxes. And I had a fox project, so fox went in it. It's Quaker Fox by the Work Basket. Another one of my Stitch 9 challenge. And those of you that have seen, E.T. It's E.T. And I have to take the inside out for this one because I didn't know what to line it with because it's so busy. And there was a suggestion of Reese Pieces. Curly. I should have written this down because I did this last time. I'll find her name and link her below. But on Instagram, she recommended that we're friends on Facebook too. The fact that I didn't think of this is ridiculous. But she recommended Reese's Pieces. Reese's Pieces was really hard to do. And she came back and she was like, what about bikes? has a great idea. So I found this, like, isn't that the most 80s bike colors you could have? So, and it pulls in together. It pulls in well. Like, I'm really happy with the inside of this one. And then it's just lots of ETs on the back. Love him. Riley Harbor is going in that one because it's like my favorite piece and it's my favorite bag. So, example of where I'm not stitching ET to put into my ET bag, but I am still using it. Then I did a swap with Tranquil Stitches, sure, and she had messaged me and said, would you be willing, she makes gorgeous bags that I've seen her on her channel show, and she was like, would you be willing to trade Jenny Bean's Halloween and Matter's Choice when you finish it for a project bag? And I was like, oh, I don't usually get rid of my patterns. This is like, I had to, like, you know, weigh it, go through it a few. It took me a couple days to be like, do I want to give my pattern away? I don't know. It's like a collection to me. But I feel like I've stitched it, so the collection can now be on my wall. So I decided, yes, I wanted to be able to share the love on that and to get one of her bags. I was like, yes, please. So she sent me this. I asked her for a Halloween. I'm not real, like, cartoony or anything like that. And she sent me this fabric, and I was like, yes, that is perfect. I love it. And then it has a little zipper pull on it, too. With a little spider. I love it. And I have a Ghoul-Tide Welcome in here. And then, just since we're doing project bags, I think very briefly, I showed this in the past. Pardon me while I get the pattern out of the front of it. But, Linda Jo over at Pretty Southern, she had sent me over this bag, and she now has an Etsy store open too. So her bags are incredible as well. And she had made me this beer project bag because she knows that I drink beer. So my project bag stash is like increasing every moment. We just have like an assembly line going on upstairs where, you know, I'm ironing the lining or the outside, the inside, doing the fusible fleece onto the inside of it. And I've gotten able to really get the inch strips starched really nicely for my mom. So I've gotten got a whole system down. So I do that, and then I lay them out and I pick the zipper color that I want to go with it, and then my mom does the rest. Eventually I want to learn the sewing part. This is not something that I just expect my mom to do for me forever. But for now, I'm going to focus on the stitching, and she's going to focus on that. So that's kind of what's been going on in our lives. I did a lot. I have a checklist to try to keep myself organized because Brandon was like, so are you going to film today? And I was like, I don't think so. And he's like, I think you should. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. So like 2 minutes before I started, I was like, let me write a list of some sort because I feel like my head is all scattered and everywhere. And we've kind of had just a lazy day, and we were downstairs. I was trying to like create a stitching spot down here. Didn't work real well. I asked on Instagram, but I'll put it out there here too. My eyes are not, I don't know how they have aged so much since I moved from Pennsylvania, but I never used a magnifier. I never used anything but my Lite. And now I don't know how to stitch without a magnifier. So I've got my big Lite that's upstairs that has the light and the magnifier light. It's not that big of magnification, but it really helps when I'm on like 36 counting up. And 36 is my favorite count. So like I do a lot on that. So I went to Joann's, I guess this week or last week, I don't know, time runs together. And I got like a clip-on one that was like, it was supposed to clip on. It didn't work for me at all. Like it wasn't, there was no spot for me to put it next to me that was going to put the magnifier in the right position because the what's that called on a lamp? I don't know, the part of the lamp that moves or that holds the light bulb up. It wasn't long enough for me to move it. So it just didn't work. So, and then the clip wasn't strong enough to clip it. So I took it back. I actually got 2 of them because I got one for Brandon too. But we took those back. But then I knew today we wanted to be doing our movie chain game. So it was like, well, sorry, I need a haircut. My mom was like, do you want to go with me to the salon? Like, no. I don't know why not, because it's shaggy, but Brandon might edit that out. If he doesn't, it's okay. So magnifier. I didn't know what I was going to do with it because I really need something down here. So I got one of these. And it's an odd lighting down here. It's really hard. I don't know. It's an light. And you wear it around your neck, you know. And then it's supposed to like lay nicely and like let you see through it. I don't know if I'm just not built for it or what. I don't know. I could not get it to a comfortable place at all. So we ended up bringing down the top portion of my light that's upstairs, but that didn't even really work because I don't know. I miss my chairs at my old house. Joe, I want my chairs back. I don't think he watches these anymore now that I don't live in Pennsylvania, but he does. He bought our house. That's why I'm talking to him. So if you have any ideas or what you're using and things like that, I put it on Instagram and a lot of people said just readers and strong glasses. The problem is like I'm wearing my contacts right now, but a lot of times I have my glasses on and then I can't wear stronger glasses on top. I'd have 2 glasses on my nose and that can't happen. So, yeah, I don't know. So I'm really itching to get a good spot down here though. Right now the cats have overtaken all of my spots. Pandy got sick this week. I didn't want to take her to the vet because she's almost 15 and it was really cold. She doesn't love the car and she would have done okay, but I don't know. I wasn't sure how she was doing. So they were really great and just let me try some antibiotics for her and she seems to have perked up. I don't know. We did that on Monday and then on Tuesday we went over to Craft Gallery and checked out their market hall and picked up some of our own. Also ran into Candy Stitches while I was there. It was a very brief run-in because we were both very focused on what we were doing. And my mom and I were like, we're getting our stuff, we're going to the sewing machine shop, and then we're going home to stitch and do project bags. So we were like in and out. So we just literally like were like, hi, and then I left by the time she was ready to leave. And anyway, we're gonna have a meetup. It's all good. It was really fun seeing somebody though from Instagram and Flosstube out in the real world because I've never really been involved in like a real life stitching community. The stitching shop I used to go to, I think, would see my piercings or like just didn't think I was an actual stitcher. And so I don't know, I always felt a little intimidated by that. I'm like, I stitch real things. I stitched Hawk Run on 40 count, but it didn't feel like I was like a real stitcher. So I'm anxious to kind of have a real life stitching like community. Flosstube's been great for that though. So we did get some haul. We got some stuff from Market. Everybody has been telling me about Kathy Barrick's whale stocking because hi me whales Kathy Barrick. Can't get any more on point than that. So I picked this one up, the ocean blue stocking. Oh, just look at that whale. Am I upside down? I don't know because it's sideways. That whale is incredible. I can't wait. I should go that way because I had him upside down. I love it. I think though, my mom is doing her Noah's stocking, and I think, well, what my mom is doing with it is she is, instead of having it in a stocking form, she's going to make it straight, because Terry, I don't know how to say her last name. She had done that on hers, and we had seen it in the background of one of her pictures of something else. And so she was great and sent me like some closer up, and I got my mom the pattern for Christmas. So she's been working on that. So I'm thinking I'm going to do something similar with this and just have it be, sorry, there's a glare, like a long and skinny piece instead of a stocking. I think. I don't know, stocking still screams Christmas to me, and I don't know. Picked this one up, the cat sampler. We are a cat family, so. It says, a house isn't a home without the ineffable contentment of a cat with its tail folded about its feet. I love heartstrings. Also, she's got everything right about coffee. I don't have a problem with coffee. I have a problem without coffee. Very accurate. We picked up Savior's Praise by Shakespeare's Peddler. I think there was talk of maybe a Sal going along next year, and I just love this one. It's got like all elements of things that I love. There's bees. There's a boat. There's not a whale, but it's a boat. I like it. I found this one. This was not a market thing or anything, but it was a Summer Snapperland by Bent Creek, and I like the whale on top of the house. There's a little hermit crab up there too. I don't think I'll stitch him. I don't know what I'll put there, but I'm not really a hermit crabby type person. Not since I had them as pets and they didn't survive. We buried my fish, but we flushed my hermit crabs. Stitch every day by Hands-On Designs. I'm trying to beef up sewing and stitching rooms. And then, because I have a dachshund, and they don't make dachshund corgi things, I picked these up. I haven't stitched any of this series. I think I have all of them. But the yellow polka dot bikini, because of Watson. And then I saw them, I think it was at Crafty U near Cleveland. I saw them stitched 1/1, and I love them tiny. So that is something that I'm looking to start. I'll probably start with Halloweenies. It was originally going to be a Stitch Madness start last year, and then I didn't. I switched it out to a Yuletide Welcome because I didn't feel it at the time. I did pick up one other thing, but it kind of ties into my madness, so I'm going to wait to show it to you till then. Okay, so what else has been going on this week? Well, my mom and I have been in some serious discussions about what 24 hours of cross stitch take 2 edition should look like. We're both actually, for as much kind of complaining as we did about it, we're both really itching to do it again. And we were like, well, we can't do it in March because we've got our Stitch Madness stuff going on. And we don't want to do it in May because everybody, if other people are interested in doing something with us, everybody's doing Mania. So I didn't want to take away from anybody's already plans. And then, so we were looking, but we're like, do we want to do it soon? Like, we're anxious to do this. And even if it's just us doing it again, like, I'm fine with that. We're reworking it a little bit, but what we're thinking, bear with me, we would like to do it again. We're thinking the first weekend in April. So we were kind of talking about what day would work best to do it. If it would be a Saturday into Sunday or a Friday into Saturday. And we were really my mom was like, we should start it early in the morning and go so it's done early in the next morning. And then you're not like wasting all of the pre-day hours to be awake and not stitching. But we realized, like, if we did it early Saturday into early Sunday, people that have church commitments or things like that, they're going to be kind of nixed from doing it, if anyone is crazy enough to join us with it. And, if we start too early on a Friday, people have work commitments. I mean, people have work commitments at any point. So, but what we're thinking is we're going to keep the schedule pretty similar. Friday around 4. We may tweak that a little bit, but we'll keep everybody updated. And then going until Saturday around 4. So it would be April 5th into April 6th. We would love to extend this offer. What is it? What is it when you do? No, like the affliction, you know, it's not even, it's like a Yom Kippur thing. This is not, those of you that understand that connection, it is afflicting your souls by doing this, but we would love to have you do that with us. So for those of you that don't know, my dad is Jewish, so I worked at a Jewish early learning center for a lot of years, as well as went to like a kind of Jewish high school, so I have a lot of ties to it. My mom is not, so that explains all the Christmas, and we do both, and everything. Background on Jen. Back to 24 hours. So, if you want to join us, what we would like you to do is we would like you to email us or comment below with how many hours out of the 24 you are committing to stitching on. They do not have to be in a row. They do not have to be, you know, it could be 1 hour out of the 24-hour segment. But we would love to have other people joining us during this 24 hours and stitching. If you want to go for the whole 24, more power to you. We'll be doing it. But if, you know, you've got kids or you've got commitments or you just like sleep, we get that too. So if you want to do 12 hours, if you want to do 6 hours, if you want to do 8 hours, whatever. But we'd love to have you joining with us and letting us know that you're going to be joining. And we're working on how we can kind of, you know, through the night, if we can do like live chats or video chatting with people to show, you know, other people doing it, to tie some more people into the like wrap up video we do. However you want it to be. And this stitching, I am not starting 24 more projects. Not after madness, not after any of that kind of stuff. What I will be doing, I want to keep the similar format though. Like I liked having, we're going to be watching 24 season 2, and I'm going to stitch during the episode and then, you know, do whatever kind of off stuff during that 15 minutes when, before we start the next one, but starting an episode every hour on the hour. So I think I'm just going to do a whip version where I am working on all of my works in progress that I have, and showing at the beginning of the hour where I was and then how far I was able to get. That's my plan. My mom's not sure what she's going to be doing yet. She might be doing like a series or something. She's still tweaking her stuff. Don't know if Brandon's going to be joining. But we're excited to open it to you. So, that being said, we also wanted to offer those of you that are crazy enough a chance to win something. So, what we're going to do is if you let us know how many hours you're committing to stitching and you are able to join in and meet your commitment, we will enter everyone into a drawing for a $24 123 Stitch gift card. So, yeah, we're nothing without a theme. So, sorry, you don't get 25. You only get 24. But that's kind of what we're thinking right now. So if you want to be involved with this, if you have ideas on how we can kind of involve more people with it, with us all being kind of scattered around the world, we would love to see that happening and love to just have this done again with you. We'll still be using 24 hours of cross stitch hashtag on Instagram. So please feel free to join in on there. I will be posting like I did last time. So again, early stages of what it's going to be, but we're pretty set on that date. We didn't want to do the next weekend because like if you're a procrastinator like I am, you might be finishing your taxes. And then the weekend after is Easter and Passover. So it's like everybody's got there's stuff going on, and it's just like, then it's like right before Mania, and everybody's going to be getting ready for that. So it just seemed like this was going to be a good way to do it. So that's been going on in our world. Another thing that I've been working on, I know there was a lot of, there have been some people commenting about my project cards. I gave them away. I'm working on getting them all tweaked. I kind of changed the formatting a little bit because I needed to figure out how to mail them. My long ones were a little too long to fit in envelopes that seemed conducive to selling. So I cut the size down a little bit, and wanted to make a way that if it was just somebody wanted a blank one, that it wasn't just a blank piece of paper with lines on it. So I tweaked my design a bit. I'm really wanting to be able to offer them out to you guys, but there's like things that I haven't considered or figured out yet. Like I have no idea what cost should be, because there is a lot of work in getting them up and running, but I understand they're also like a one-time use thing. So I'm trying to figure that out. I have to like reprice the paper, and we actually have a friend who makes things, so I was asking him if he could make a punch for the holes so I don't have to go through with a hole punch. So what I did was I made a blank template that has the project name, designer, stitch count, model stitched on. And then these have 18 holes on 18 holes on them. I also have a version that has 9. And I'm thinking that this might be, until I get the other ways figured out, the best way for me to be able to offer these to you. If you're interested in this, please message me and we'll figure out something. I don't want to like post a price point or anything like that right now, because I just don't know what's going to be conducive. I don't know feasibly how many I'm going to be able to knock out in a time period. You know, it does, right now it's punching all of the holes. So each page has 18 holes in it. And it's cutting them out and trimming them using, you know, different things to do that. Because when I do it, I cut with scissors and they get all like wonky on the edges. But if I'm giving it to somebody else, I don't want that. And I'm still, you know, I'm playing with how to make them an editable version. It just has not gotten there yet. And like, I work on a Mac, I use Word. It's an old version, and I'm worried if I were to be, it can't be through there. So I don't know that we'll ever get to the point where I'm going to feel comfortable doing that. I'm hoping I will. But this is what I kind of have to offer now. Also, if you're interested in customizable ones, like that you want it to say in my font, like I do for mine. Sorry, should have pulled this out before. If you want the font on there and the numbers going down, I am able to do that customizable for you. You just have to send me the information. So you would need to send me the, you know, the project name, the designer. This one doesn't have the designer on it. I've had very many different versions of these throughout the years. Stitch count, I like it on there. It helps me when I'm making sure my fabric's going to work. And then I like to know what it was stitched on, what count, just because a lot of times I do not use the called for linen, but I like to know what size they were thinking of when they did it. So if you want one that already has everything on it, that's fine too. Ooh, very blurry. But you'll just message me and we'll figure something out. And it would just be probably PayPaling. But again, I'm trying to figure out that price point. So if you guys can just bear with me until I understand what the cost is going to be in doing them. There's that. So that's what I'm kind of offering for now. I would also do the same for my whip cards that are on my whip wall. If you're interested in those, message me. We'll figure something out. It's been a really long time. I've talked for a while and I haven't showed you any of my stitching yet. So let's get on to that. So that's why you're really watching this. So it's been Stitch Madness. I've been doing different project every day. Last time we talked, it was on Friday, March 1st, so I showed you my first project. For those of you that were not are new or didn't see that one, I was stitching, my first project was All Creatures Great and Small by Barbara Anna. I am doing this, I started on the 1st because it was National Pig Day, and there is a pig over here, and so I thought that was appropriate. I tried really hard to get to that pig. I almost made it. I stitched a little piglet, but did not quite get the pig. I'm stitching this on a 40 count vintage sand dune. For those of you that don't realize or don't know, I buy big pieces of fabric and then cut them down to what I'm going to be working on. So during my 24 hours, you saw quite a few pieces that I'm also stitching on 40 count vintage sand dune. It's because I just got a big piece of it. I typically do not buy specific for a project. I just buy pieces and then cut as I go. The next start I had was on March 2nd, and you'll have to forgive me, I do not have my calendar that tells me what the holidays are, so I'm kind of working off of memory. I do. So March 2nd. March 2nd was Old Stuff Day. So I decided this one was twofold. I've had this pattern for a really long time, and it's reproduction pattern. So I'm doing Birds of a Feather by Blackbird Designs. And I'm stitching this on 40 count, and I think it's just a natural linen. I'm using the DMC. The lighting's hard to tell. This flower here is all like, there's lots of lines inside of it. It's very stripey and things like that. I like it. I think I got a good start on it. March 3rd was I Want You to Be Happy Day. So I pulled out Scarlett House. This is my happy place. And when I have a house, I really want a sewing room like all decked out with all sorts of appropriate cross stitch. Got pretty far on this one. This is my happy place. The buttons on the original pattern are real buttons and not stitched on, and I didn't think about it before I did the sunflower. So I may stitch on a button over top of it. Also, the color of the lettering was too light to show. They called for parchment. I'm using called for threads for this. So it was weeks dye work, parchment, and it just wasn't showing on my fabric. So I supped it in with Palomino, I think that's how you say it. It was left over from when I did my Stacy Nash whale. Nantucket, something. I'm liking that one. It's on a 36 count Maritime white. March 4th was National Pound Cake Day. And what goes better with pound cake than coffee? So I was doing Coffee is a Cup of Bliss by Homespun Elegance. Had this one for a long time also. There's a wine one. Glare's a bit bad, but I might end up doing that one too. Tea one is really cute too, but it's pretty much the same as the coffee one. So if I'm going to do one, I'm probably just going to do the coffee. So I'm stitching this on a 36 count Summer Khaki. And I looked at this and I was like, this border is going to be a pain. It was so much fun to stitch. Like there was just a rhythm to that border. And I think I'm just using called for. So it's fancy floss of some sort. I don't have it in front of me, so not sure. This was the only one. I went to stitch the next morning at like 3 in the morning. I was awake because Pandy had a rough week and I was sleeping on the couch to be around her, and I woke up at like 3 in the morning and I was like, fine, I'm awake, I'm just gonna stitch. And I knew it was the next day, so I was like, well, I have to stitch on my next project. And I went to get the fabric and I'm looking at it, I'm like, this does not look like it's gonna be big enough. What is wrong? And sure enough, it was not the right size. So I panicked a little bit and was like, I don't know what to do, but I really want to stitch right now, so I'm just going to keep stitching on the other one. So I feel like it cheated a little bit on my system, but nobody knew until I told you just then. And yes, it was almost catastrophe because the piece of fabric that I had for my next start on March 5th, which was Tuesday, which was convenient because we were already planning to start the day at Craft Gallery, and I was able to get the right piece of fabric for it. This is for Mardi Gras. I honestly do not really know what Mardi Gras is, but I felt like this was appropriate. I've had this piece for a while, Dead Man's Chess. We're gamers. We have had a game room. Well, we had a dining room in our house and it was gaming. And so I wanted to have this, you know, eventually up in our game room. It is, if you stitch it on 32 count, it's like the right size for a playable chessboard. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And we don't have a chessboard because it's not really the type of game we play, but I figured, hey, this is a cool chessboard then. So it may be one of the rare pieces that I actually like frame with glass on it because it's cool to have it playable. I'm stitching it on a piece of 32 count Examplar. I realized after I bought it that they called for pearled barley, but it's very full coverage. So you're not going to see very much except for around the edge from where you frame. So I got a lot done on this. It's like when you love something and you're like, it's flowing, you just keep going with it. It's full coverage, and there's a lot of one-on-one. All of the details pretty much on the gravestones when you do them is all 1/1. So wish me luck. It's going to take a really long time, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I'm just using DMC because full coverage on 32 count. I think it's 201 by 201. So, I mean, it's no hate, but it's like pretty big. On the 6th, I started, it was Lent, and Lent was never a big thing in our house. Like, I mean, we did Easter, and then as I got older, we did Passover, and I love it when Passover and Easter kind of combine. But this is the pick I had for Lent, and it's the Weeping Tree Sampler. Felt like a very solemn, serious, like readying your heart. It says at the bottom, "Here my work forever stands, the labor of two busy hands." This is by the City Stitcher. This was probably one of the only patterns that I did not go through stash to start. That's a lie. There's a couple other ones, but this was one of the few. Usually when I'm doing my madness, I try to stay pretty much in my stash as much as possible. So I ordered this one. I had never seen it before, and it came, and it is filled with specialty stitches. Those of you that know me know I don't love them. So I'm going to be doing some reworking. I don't think this piece needs them. There are some pieces that I will say, okay, I can see why it's there. Those spools on Sister Stitcher, for instance. Like, but this one I'm not sure that I'll do them. The border outside the edge, there's a green border. It's hard to see there, but that's all like satin stitches. So I did not start with that because I haven't decided. I'm gonna have to like rechart it. It's a big one though. I'm doing it on 32 count light Mocha, and I think it's the same piece of fabric that I'm doing Map of Hakron Hollow on. So I got all the way across. I was a little nervous about the size for this one because it just feels like it went right up to the edge, but my mom, who frames my stuff, said we were fine. So I'm going to trust her. But I'm really enjoying that one. And I think it's the City Stitcher. I think it's the first piece by them I've ever stitched. It's one of the things I really like about doing different designers every day, is it kind of challenges me to find different designers. You know, I get stuck in the ones that I really like. I really like Kathy Barrick. I really like Plum Street. And so I get heartstrings. I get stuck in those, and I have so many of theirs that I want to eventually stitch that it just feels like I miss out on the other stuff. So I like that it's the 31 different designers that I try to do. And then I try to keep them pretty much my style. Like, I don't change. We all have our own styles of stitching. My next one was March is Color Therapy Month, like immersing yourself in all sorts of colors, like as a happiness. So I pulled this piece. I didn't take it out of the packaging because it's in one of the annoying packages that I can never get closed again once it comes out. So this is Penny Harvest by Tree of Life. Again, another designer I've never stitched on anything of, but it has tons of coloring. Lots of like really bold popping colors. And then I was so disappointed because I started it and none of those colors were what I stitched. I'm still really liking it. I'm using DMC for this one, especially since it was like my first one with this designer. And I mean, the colors are beautiful in DMC, so, but I got the top border done. I'm doing this on a 36 count navy bean. Yesterday was the 8th, and it was International Women's Day. So I decided to start Molly by Carriage House. I stitched Elizabeth last year, And I have all 4 of the girls from the series to do, and my goal is to get them all done. The thing is, it's a series, and I like series to be stitched all on the same thing. And this is a series that isn't going to be swapped out. So I eventually see them like hanging together in my house. So I have to stitch them all in the same fabric. I stitched Elizabeth on 32 count lamb's wool, and I didn't love it, but I stitched her on it. So I feel like I'm compelled to stitch the rest of them on it as well. Problem being, I feel like this piece might be a little bit too small. I'm really hoping it's not. I've measured, and I involved my mom in the whole process to see what she thought. We're thinking if I leave that inch border will be okay. She encouraged me to do the whole border down, but if you can see on the pattern, like right here, it goes down to 1 line instead of 2. It's like 2, and I was really scared that I would miscount. And so I'm not generally a pre-border stitcher. I'm not. But I think I'll be fine. So this is the start on Molly. I will say the DMC conversion for this is not great. I love the colors on the pattern cover, but her hair was supposed to be the same color as the border, and it's gray. And I was like, I don't want her to have gray hair. So then I changed her hair to this, which is, I'm doing it with DMC, which is 3371, I believe. Yeah. And then I realized that the tree, because I figured the tree was going to be started in 3371, the tree is like 730, which is like green. So I think I'm going to be doing, I love the colors. The colors are gorgeous together. Like they're just really pretty colors. I just think I'm going to be changing around what stands for what in the pattern and just making it kind of shift. I also might pull out Elizabeth and see what the color schemes were on her and change some of them to maybe those colors. I don't know. It's one, they don't seem that big. I don't even know. The stitch count is like 152 by 186. It's not huge. I've done a lot bigger, but it's mostly like there is so much stitching involved in these. And then the lamb's wool is just really, really tough. And so it hurts my fingers. It's the only time I feel like I need like a thimble or something. And then my mom, this was the other project bag. This is my cat bag, and it has my mice on the inside. And it's cats. So Molly lives in the cat bag because she has a big cat next to her. And then, okay, today's start, I have a little story for because it won't be long because I've talked for a really long time already. Today's holiday is procrastination week because apparently that's what this week is. And I pulled out the Goldfinch sampler by From the Heart, needlework by Wendy. And I thought it was appropriate because this is the last of the birds that I had to do from her because I've done other ones, and this was the last one I had. And then we were at Craft Gallery on Tuesday, and they had this, which is the chickadee sampler. So it is another one. So this is now not procrastinated to be the last because there's still this one to do. Oh well, too late. Wasn't changing my plan. I was really hoping that this would be a day start and a day finish, and I still have some time. I really wanted to stitch on Goat Load and join in on the Sal a little bit more because everybody's stitching it and I miss mine. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like I think I might be able to get a finish on him, but I was just not having luck getting my stitchy spots set up nicely down here. So I don't know if it'll happen. I lost my notebook. Brandon laughs at me every time I lose my things because I talk about being organized and then like, where's this? Found it. So that's what I've been stitching this week. I will talk about April stitching plans next time because I have talked long enough. Next week I'm going to continue on my Stitch Madness. I will be back to give you some updates and share with what I'm doing. Maybe I'll share my April stitching plans then. So if you are interested in joining in 24 hours stitch 24 hours of cross stitch take 2. We would love to have you join. Either email me at quirksandstitches@gmail.com and tell me that you're in, and how many hours you're committing to during our time frame. Again, do not have to do 24 hours. It can be whatever you decide to. I will put your name down that you're joining us. Or you can just comment below. That's fine too. Joining in enters you into a giveaway for a $24 gift certificate from 123 Stitch. And again, if you have any ideas on how we can kind of make this more, open to people, with us all being all over the world, let me know. And project cards. Message me. I'll figure something out to make sure you get what you need, especially if you're kitting stuff up for Mania and you really want to use my system. I'll make it happen. So, think that's it. I've rambled long enough. Hopefully Brandon can piece this all together, because I had to start and stop a few times in the middle, and he's been awesome. Oh, and see, that noise wasn't supposed to be there because I had it on mute, but those are the words I want to say right now. I think that's it. Thanks for stitching. Keep stitching. Enjoy what you're doing. Don't make it a chore. Find what works for you. So, looking forward to seeing what you're doing and sharing what I've got going on next.